Hello, thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia. This is a very exciting video because it's my first video for the new catalogue, the January to April mini catalogue, and I'm using some of the celebration items. So let's have a quick look at what we're using today. The stamp set is Cake Fancy. And as soon as I saw the stamp set in the catalogue, I knew that I wanted to have it. There was no question that that was going onto my list. The embossing folder is Layered Florals, and I've been using this a lot. I just love this embossing folder. These dies are from the Everyday Details dies. Although it doesn't coordinate with the Everyday Details stamp set, there are no images in this. You've got the dies. If you keep an eye out on my blog, traceofcreativity.com, I am going to be doing a stamp camp with a couple of other girls in Australia, and it will be using the Everyday Details bundles, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested. I'm using the iridescent foil gems and the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper. I'm normally not that keen on birds, but I really like this paper. The colours are so pretty and so soft. Right, so let's get started on the card. The first thing I'm going to do is make this twisted ribbon border. It is a bit messy sticky, so I'm going to work on my silicone sheet. We're starting with a piece of just basic white cardstock. That's going to be 4.5 by 14.9 centimeters. If you're working in inches, it's 2 inches by 5.5 inches. And what I've done is I've marked every 1 centimeter. If you're working in inches, that would be 1/2 inch. Now, just a word of warning if you are working in metric, this is 14.9 centimeters. So that last mark is going to be 0.9 centimeters. So when you're marking it, this is my centimeter side over here. You can see it's every second line is a centimeter. So that's a centimeter. This one here is going to be slightly short. So just make sure that when you mark on the other side, you're actually lining it up so that that last one is going to be slightly short. Now I've cut my Designer Series paper into 1 centimeter strips, and these are 6 centimeters long. I've got the 2 different papers. You want to just make sure that your papers are going to coordinate together and that they're not directional. If you look at this sheet of paper, the flowers do have a direction, but when we're cutting them up into those tiny little strips, that doesn't make a difference. And your images, you don't want anything that's too big because the strips are so small, you're not going to see them. If we're working in inches, those are 1/2 inch by 3 inches. You just need to decide which strip you want to go underneath and which on top. I'm going to go with the floral one on top just because we're covering up some of the underneath one and I want to see the floral. So starting with the underneath one, we're going to stick the first one from that top corner to your first mark. Obviously the strips are a bit bigger. I'm not going to put glue all the way because I know that I'm not going to be using the full strip, but we're using the mat because we are going to get glue everywhere. Now I'm going to go from the next mark to that second one to the third one, and we're going to do that all the way across. if anybody was counting, I've got 8 strips here, and I've got 8 of the other color as well. If you're working in Imperial, you're going to need 6 of each color strip. We're just going to trim off all that overhang. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with the other color strips, and this time we're starting from the corner and going down to the outer corner of the blue strips. And once again, we're going to trim those edges. Now let's get our stamping done. This is the largest circle in those Everyday Details dies. I'm going to stamp my cake plate in boho blue. And so far, every time I've worked with this stamp, my cakes have been chocolate cakes. So that's crumb cake. I'm sure that eventually I'll get round to other flavours, but right now it's all chocolate. Okay, if that doesn't stamp very well, I'm going to just stamp over it and it should be okay. For my flowers, I'm starting with Petal Pink, and then I'm going to add a bit of Calypso Coral, inking up in Petal Pink, and just for some variety I'm going to do one flower just in plain Petal Pink, then I'm going to ink up in the Petal Pink and take some Calypso Coral. So that one I think I dabbed a bit more around the centre. We can do some around the edges of the petals. And some just random. Alright, so I'm running out of paper here, but you're going to need 5 flowers. And those flowers need to be fussy cut. My cut flowers. These flowers are all stuck flat. You can just decorate your cake. For my sentiment, I just stamped the birthday wishes onto a little piece of basic white. And then what I did was I cut my die like that, and obviously we had a bit more of the piece hanging out there, and then I moved the die to where I wanted it, and what you'll find is those little teeth on the die will fit in to the cuts on the paper, so you can hook it in you can actually feel it hooking in, that it fits, and then cut that. So you're changing the size to whatever size suits your sentiment. Right, now we're ready to assemble the card. I'm going to go with the background and stick this petal pink embossed piece on top. Now this piece is the same length as the card, and we've just got a little border on each side. And then we're going to stick our twisted ribbon panel onto a piece of the boho blue. And again, those are the same size. And we're going to stick that onto the front of the card. Some dimensionals on the back of my circle. I'm going to put my sentiment onto dimensionals as well. And for my insert, I decided to try something like that, and I've decided that I really like this. So you'll probably see me doing this a lot in future because it's just really easy, but I think it looks so effective. We're going to stick a piece of DSP onto the edge of our insert. That's 1 centimeter wide, and then I've got a strip of boho blue which is 1/2 centimeter. If you're working in inches, that would be 1/2 inch, and then 1/4 inch for the boho blue. And lastly, we just need some of the gems to go. I think I used the big ones actually inside the flowers. And there we have it. Relatively easy, really pretty card. I'm sure that anybody would enjoy getting that. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you like my videos, please follow me on YouTube. Until next time, bye.